I keep seeing the same stranger in different crowds. His story comes from a Reddit user. I was about 12 years old and had been attending my church youth group for several months. The youth group was split into two age groups, with me being in the younger of the two. There were usually anywhere between 10 and 20 kids at the youth group every week, but there were always some regulars like me. We'd play games, talk, and hang out. It was a good time. One night I was hanging around with a couple of friends before youth group started, when this guy walked through the door. He was slightly older than me and not part of the youth group. I didn't think much of it until he walked right up to me and my friends, leaned over and said, "Hey, I haven't seen you around here before. What's your name?" He introduced himself as Derek. We told him our names, and he replied with, "Nice to meet all of you." And then he turned and walked away. Now, Derek seemed nice enough, but I noticed that he kept coming back to our group and talking to us throughout the night. Every time he approached me, he would stare directly at me with these soulless eyes while he talked. I found it creepy, but my friends thought he was just being nice. They asked if I was sure I didn't know him, because he seemed to be trying to get to know us. I replied that I was sure. I had no idea who he was. As the night wore on, Derek began asking more personal questions, which made me even more uncomfortable. He asked me what grade I was in, what my favorite class was, how many brothers and sisters I had, where I lived, and so on. I answered all of his questions honestly, though I began to feel like he was trying to collect information about me instead of getting to know me. My friends seemed to find this amusing and kept nudging me and whispering, "Just answer the question," and I did. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. At one point during the night, Derek leaned in close to me and whispered, "So, you're pretty cute? You have a boyfriend?" I was shocked by the question and instantly blushed. I responded with a quick no and stepped back from him. When my friends heard this, they erupted into laughter and clapped him on the back. "Good try, bro," one of them said, and everyone just started making fun of him. Derek got really angry and stormed out of the room. We never saw him again. After he left, my friends and I went outside to sit on the curb and wait for our parents to pick us up. I told my friends that I felt really bad for Derek. I mean, we'd only ever seen him once before and we were being jerks. But my friends laughed and said we hadn't done anything wrong. Then they started poking me and asking, "So, are you going to go out with him? Are you going to ask him out?" I told them again that I didn't know him and that I wasn't going to ask him out, but they kept bugging me. It was only a few minutes later when we saw Derek walking towards us. As he approached, I could see that he had tears in his eyes. He looked broken. I immediately stood up and yelled at my friends, "Don't say anything. He's obviously upset. Let's just leave him alone." But before I could say another word, Derek was upon us, and he screamed, "Why did you do that? Why did you make fun of me?" I was so scared that I took a step back and accidentally fell onto the sidewalk behind me. Derek was breathing heavily and his eyes were wide with anger. One of my friends stood up and told him to back off, but Derek was having none of it. He charged forward and tackled him to the ground. Everyone was screaming and running around in circles. At that point, I don't remember exactly what happened because I was completely shocked. But according to other people who were there that night, Derek ended up smashing the front headlight of one of the cars that was parked nearby. He then tried to run off, but a cop car pulled up and arrested him. The officers also brought my friend inside to ask him what happened. When everything had calmed down, my mom picked me up and drove me home. On the way, she asked me what had happened, so I told her everything. That is when she told me that sometimes strangers can seem friendly just to get close to you and find out information about you. She said that Derek probably wasn't even his real name. She also told me to never, ever give out any information to a stranger, no matter how nice they seem. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the events of the evening over and over in my head. Was Derek actually trying to stalk me? Had he been following me to my school or my house? Would I ever see him again? I asked my mom if Derek would go to jail, and she said that only the police and the judge would decide that. I never learned what happened to him or why he did what he did. I do want to know if this is supposed to be a lesson in stranger danger or to not let your guard down around strangers or just be cautious around strangers. Maybe it's all of the above. I think the most important thing is to be aware of your surroundings and to trust your gut feeling. If something feels wrong, then it probably is. I hope this story can be a reminder to all of us to be careful around strangers. Thanks for watching.